Across the world, ancient stories have shaped human history, stories of divine beings descending from the heavens and altering the course of civilization. Two of the most fascinating figures in these stories are the Watchers from the Book of Enoch and the Anunnaki from ancient Sumerian texts. Though they share thematic elements, these beings come from vastly different worlds, one rooted in monotheistic faith and the other in polytheism. What are the real differences between these divine figures? What happens when these stories are compared, and how can we ensure that they remain understood within their proper cultural and theological context? The Watchers and the Anunnaki are more than just ancient myths, they are crucial pieces in the puzzle of humanity's spiritual evolution. But the real question is, where have modern interpretations, especially since the 1970s, blurred the lines between them? Join us as we unravel these ancient mysteries and separate fact from fiction, revealing the hidden histories that shaped ancient civilizations and still impact our understanding of spirituality today. The Watchers are a group of divine beings who appear in the Book of Enoch, an ancient Hebrew text that is a part of Ethiopian African traditions and linked to early Christian thought. These beings were sent by God to observe humanity, but their story is far from one of passive observation. Led by Azazel, the Watchers broke divine law by taking human wives and teaching humanity forbidden knowledge, secrets that included the art of mythology, magic, and astrology. This knowledge, while powerful, was said to corrupt humanity, leading to chaos and eventually the flood. The Book of Enoch gives a vivid account of these beings, revealing that their actions were not only acts of disobedience but also a warning: too much knowledge, without divine guidance, leads to ruin. The Watchers represent a cautionary tale, one about the dangers of going beyond one's designated role and about the consequences of overreaching into the unknown. Now, let's look across the world at a completely different tradition, the Anunnaki. The Anunnaki are gods in ancient Sumerian mythology, with their origins rooted in the Fertile Crescent. They are part of a polytheistic pantheon where each god has dominion over different aspects of life. Unlike the Watchers, who act as celestial beings under a singular divine authority, the Anunnaki are gods with their own power and agendas. They didn't just observe humanity, they created it. In the Enuma Elish, the Anunnaki are depicted as the creators of human beings made from the blood of a slain god and clay. This was not an act of divine benevolence, but rather a necessary step to build a labor force for the gods. These gods weren't perfect, they were engaged in their own struggles for power, waging war against each other, manipulating human destiny, and defining the trajectory of early civilization. Their relationship with humanity was one of command and control rather than divine guidance. Here, we encounter the most significant difference between the Watchers and the Anunnaki, their theological context. The Watchers are part of Hebrew mysticism, emerging from a monotheistic worldview. God is supreme, and the Watchers are his messengers. Their descent to earth and the imparting of forbidden knowledge marks a breach of divine law, bringing judgment upon humanity. Contrast this with the Anunnaki, gods in a polytheistic tradition. They are not messengers of one god, they are part of a pantheon of beings who exist alongside each other, each with their own domain and influence. The Anunnaki's interaction with humanity was not a story of moral failure or divine judgment, but of intervention and domination, with each god playing a role in the shaping of civilization. These differences are crucial for understanding not just the mythologies themselves, but the cultural and theological ideologies that underpin them. The Watcher's story serves a moral purpose, while the Anunnaki story serves to legitimize power structures and divine rule. Here's where things get really interesting and controversial. In the 1970s, a radical shift occurred in the way we viewed the Anunnaki. In his book The 12th Planet, Zecharia Sitchin proposed an audacious theory: the Anunnaki were not gods at all, but extraterrestrials who came to Earth from a distant planet called Nibiru. According to Sitchin, the Anunnaki didn't descend as divine beings, but as alien visitors with superior technology who manipulated humanity to serve their own ends. Sitchin's hypothesis was groundbreaking, suggesting that ancient stories about gods descending from the heavens were actually describing encounters with alien beings. His ideas, though widely criticized by scholars, quickly gained a following, fueling the ancient astronaut theory that has permeated popular culture to this day. But what does this shift in perception mean for the original understanding of these stories? By interpreting the Anunnaki as aliens, we have shifted the conversation away from gods who were meant to embody moral and spiritual lessons and instead framed them as advanced beings manipulating humanity for their own gain. This raises a key issue: how many of our ancient stories have been reshaped by this modern lens of aliens? And, more importantly, how does this affect how we understand the Watchers in the Book of Enoch? While Sitchin's theories focus on the Anunnaki, the broader effect has been the blending of two vastly different mythologies. The Watchers, once understood as divine beings sent by God, have now been reinterpreted through the same lens of extraterrestrial influence. What happens when these stories are merged? You get a blurred, mixed narrative that doesn't respect the original cultural context. The Watchers and the Anunnaki are often compared today as if they're the same alien visitors descending to Earth and interacting with humanity. But the Watchers in Hebrew mysticism are far from the Anunnaki in Sumerian text. The Watchers were not gods, they were angels who went against the will of one god, while the Anunnaki were gods themselves, part of a larger pantheon with their own purposes and struggles. Blending these two traditions distorts their meanings. The Watchers' descent to Earth is about divine judgment, about knowledge that leads to corruption. The Anunnaki's descent is about creation, control, and the manipulation of humanity for their own purposes. To combine them into one narrative is to erase the rich theological and cultural distinctions that give each myth its power. In the end, the Watchers and the Anunnaki are vastly different, and understanding their stories separately allows us to respect the distinct cultures and worldviews that created them. The modern-day interpretation of the Anunnaki as extraterrestrials, combined with the recent tendency to blend ancient myths, has clouded our understanding of these beings and their true roles in their respective traditions. By keeping these myths separate, we can appreciate the different lessons they teach us. The Watchers, as part of Hebrew mysticism, warn us of the dangers of forbidden knowledge and the importance of divine order. The Anunnaki, as part of the polytheistic Sumerian pantheon, reveal a world where gods manipulate humanity for their own gain. Each story is powerful, but it's only by respecting their individual cultural and theological context that we can fully understand them and the lasting impact they have had on ancient spiritual traditions, including Afrocentric thought and early Christianity. As we continue to explore the origins of humanity, let us be mindful of how these ancient myths have shaped our understanding of the divine and how their legacies continue to influence us today.